Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Brew Crew. Well, the winning streak's over, but they did set a new franchise record. 14 wins in a row. Dramatic fashion over the weekend, too. Especially when you go back to Friday and Saturday. First off, before we get to that, I gotta read this because I think it's such a cool little write-up here. So, again, depending on if you like power rankings or not, I look at them. They're not the be-all, tell-all for me, but I just kind of like to see where maybe outsiders view, the teams that we talk about and cover and such. And, well, for the Brewers, the latest power rankings from MLB.com still have the Brewers at number 1. And the little write-up here that they've got, Sunday's loss was, amazingly, the Brewers' first loss in the month of August. Everything else here is pointing up, though. They still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games, and I love this part, and they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. Love that. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row next month now anyways. The question is whether they could bury the Cubs with 5 games at Wrigley Field this week. Got some, at least, believing in the Brewers right now and the Euchre magic there. But, I mean, this weekend, if there was maybe some people out there not really buying into the Brewers or the magic of what's going on, or maybe kind of like, okay, there really isn't anything going on. This team's it's a fun story. Now, this was just like this weekend where I'm just like, you just kind of throw your hands up in the air and you're like, what in the world is going on? What is going on with this team? Like, in a good way, obviously. You go to Friday night's game, for crying out loud. We started off with Friday's win. Okay? That 10-8 win. When it was 8-1 after 2. 8-1 after 2. But, okay, there was still a little, 8-1, that's a 7-run deficit. You're like, okay, that's going to be tough to overcome. But there was still a small part of me, and I don't think I was the only one. But there was still a small part of me, and I'm like, but wouldn't it be just kind of the 2025 Brewers if somehow they were to inch and claw back in that? Well, lo and behold, in the top of the third, they did it right away by putting up 5 runs. And then they put up 2 more in the fourth to tie it up. And then another run in the 6th and another in the 7th. 17 total hits, 2 homers by Christian Yelich in that game, a 10-8 victory. Yelly almost with another cycle against the Reds. And Jacob Mizorowski, his first start since coming off the injured list, wasn't sharp. Wasn't sharp by any means. Going just 1 1/3, 5 earned runs. DL Hall comes in, 2 2/3 pitching. He gives up 3 earned runs. So between those two, he had 8 earned runs given up right away. And you're like, the streak was fun while it lasted. Got the burgers and everything, but it's just maybe not gonna work out this time. But this offense, this team, in 2025 fashion, typical 2025 fashion, yeah, we good. And you kind of just how do you react to a game like that and that comeback victory? You're like, wow, just this blanket team, man. This team did it again. And then on Saturday, another come from behind victory to get to 14, to set a franchise record. 14 goes extra innings, goes 11 innings. But Quinn Priester going 5 1/3 in this game, 2 earned runs, a solid outing for him, a couple solo shots. Okay? But the Brewers tie it up in the top of the 9th. They each trade a run in the 10th, and then the Brewers scoring 3 in the 11th, holding on as the Reds scored 2 in the bottom of that. But it's just like this team, this blanking team, man. What else? Unbelievable. I mean, to have Saturday's game with Andrew Monasterio hitting a 3-run shot. Come on, right? Andrew Monasterio. We've talked about this team. It feels like different dudes stepping up every night. And the list is long of different guys stepping up and contributing and being that player that helped propel them to victory. And it's Andrew Monasterio with a 3-run shot in the 11th to do it for the Brewers. Come on. That is the typical 2025 Brewers way, isn't it? To have Andrew Monasterio do it. 14 wins in a row, and what number does he wear? Oh, yeah, 14, right? 2025 Brewers. And then they almost do it again yesterday. I mean, when Contreras hit that 2-run shot, how many of us were just like, are you kidding me again? The Brewers don't score anything. Nothing. They're getting blanked. 1-0 in the 9th. But again, there had to have been just a small part of you. There was a small part of me. There was a small part of me saying, they're gonna do something again in the 9th, aren't they? They're gonna do something. They're either gonna tie it up or they're just gonna make some play to take the lead. And lo and behold, Contreras hits a 2-run shot. And you're like, I kind of just like, I had my hat on and I kind of did it and I'm rubbing my head like this and I'm like, what are we watching? Like, what is this? What is this? This isn't real. There's no way this is real. I loved who was the Reds player? Was it Lux? I can't remember. But like the reaction after Contreras hit, he just kind of drops down, squatting down. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, lo and behold, you had the error from Terang, and I know the decision to take out Tobias Myers was met with criticism from a lot of Brewers fans, kind of questioning that. Pat Murphy after the game yesterday saying they went to Grant because he is a ground ball pitcher, and with a runner on, they were hoping that able to flip 2. That didn't work. If it worked, we're not talking about it. But it didn't, so we are talking about it. And maybe a little bit of it, Myers did pitch 2 innings. Maybe a little bit of it is trying to save him a little bit for this upcoming series with the Cubs. And remember, they don't have another scheduled off day until September 2nd. Maybe trying to preserve some of those arms, especially since they used their bullpen quite a bit in the first 2 games of this series against the Reds. But it was met with confusion and head-scratching there. If it works, we're not talking about it. But it didn't. So now they got to live with it on that one. But part of it is, too, if Terang maybe makes that play, maybe they get out of it, and maybe they extend their winning streak. But the grit, the fight, the no-quit of this team, you love to see it. And you darn well know now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the score is. If the Brewers are down by a few runs at any point, this is the team that doesn't give a rip. They don't care. They're still going to battle. It might be another Yelich night where he hits a couple home runs. It might be Andrew Monasterio hitting a home run. It might be Sal Frelick. It might be, Terang, Ortiz, whoever it may be. But to have this no fight, this no quit, I know it's kind of a corny phrase in sports. Never quit, never give up. It's not over till the fat lady sings. Those phrases that we have grown accustomed to. The Brewers are a living proof of that with the philosophy they have with this team, with this mindset that they have. I mean, for crying out loud, too, you look at the lineup yesterday. Kind of similar to last Sunday when they had the walk-off home run. But you look at the lineup from yesterday. Because remember, they began this series too. No Isaac Collins, paternity leave. You had Blake Perkins for a hot minute, missing some time, but he was back yesterday. But you start off with Monasterio getting the start. You looked at that lineup yesterday, especially, Monasterio and Durbin as your top two hitters. Contreras getting the DH spot. Yelich starting in left. Vaughn, then Perkins, then Jansen, Ortiz, Lockridge. All right, you're sitting Terang. You don't have a Frelick. Terang did come in at the end there. But it's like, oh, okay. Not your A squad, obviously. But credit to Jose Quintana, 6 1/3, just giving up 1 earned run. Myers for pitching very well. But man, I know they didn't sweep this past weekend. Still super, super impressed with this team. And I feel like and I know I keep saying this, we are running out of things or ways to describe this team or to talk about this team. But I think you look back at this weekend with this Red Series and see how they won it. Again, no Collins in this series. But to see these other guys and to see how they won it come from behind victories. They're going to be able to utilize that experience and use that experience going forward. They've won in another way. We talked about how this team has won in different ways throughout this entire year. Add another one from this weekend. That's what impresses me the most from this past weekend. Is these come from behind victories, and even yesterday, coming from behind, putting pressure on their opponents to make plays. You had the error the other day that helped extend the game, Saturday night's game. And we've seen this time and time again from this Brewers team, putting pressure on their opponents to make plays. They're kind of, again, this Brewers team is kind of that annoying gnats or mosquito flying around that just won't go away. No matter how many times you swat at it or brush it away from your face, they just keep coming back. They keep coming back, and they keep biting at you, and they force you, and they just kind of wear you down a little bit. And I hope this is something that can continue not only for the rest of this regular season, but into the postseason. And to see these guys like an Andrew Monasterio or others getting some big-time moments and making some big-time plays, just maybe that'll benefit this team going forward for the rest of the regular season and into the postseason. And now we've got this huge series, final regular season series against the Cubbies starting today with a doubleheader. You get Freddie Peralta on the mound. We know the experience the Cubs have with Freddie Peralta. We know it. Freddie's familiar with them. Cubs are familiar with Freddie. All right. You look at it from a career sense. Michael Busch, 13 career at-bats, does have a couple home runs against Freddie. Just a 154 average, but a 968 OPS. Ian Happ's got 32 career at-bats against him. He struggled. 063. 063 average, 367 OPS. Horner's 192 in 26 career at-bats. Suzuki, 21 career at-bats, 095. Swanson, 20 career at-bats, 100. But, Peralta's had success against those guys. On the other hand, Tucker in 8 career at-bats, 625. Peter Armstrong, 9 career at-bats, 556 with a 1.556 OPS. And I know Pete Armstrong has been kind of struggling here as of late. Not a bad weekend series, though, against the Pirates, collecting 5 hits in 3 games. Actually, just had 1 at-bats on Saturday's game, but Friday night's game, collected 3 hits. Yesterday was 2 for 4. So maybe kind of turn the corner here a little bit for him. Brewers are going to be going up against Cade Horton, who this year in 16 games is 7-3. He has started 15 of those games. And you look at what he has done so far in the month of August, and he's been pretty darn good. 3-0 with a .55 ERA. Heck, expand it to July. In 4 games started, 1-1, but a 1.52 ERA. Has not gone up against the Brewers, so a little bit of an unfamiliar territory here for the Brewers. So can they get after Cade Horton? Can they get after him, who has been pitching incredibly well in the last couple months if we go back to July? Very well. Dude's been almost lights out, really. I mean, when you look at a 1.152 ERA, or excuse me, 1.52 ERA in the month of July and a .55 ERA in the month of August so far, yeah, dude's been pitching very well. Sure, you could say, well, look at the teams he's gone up against, the Reds and Baltimore and the White Sox and the Twins and that. I don't care. Dude's still been pitching very good, or very well. Got to give him credit. So can this Brewers offense go in there and maybe wear him down a little bit? Put up a big number against him? Give Freddie Peralta a lead? Help him out a little bit with the run support? Because Peralta is going to go in there and in typical Freddie fashion, probably going to get the pitch count up there, right? We know he's going to get that pitch count up there. But can you give him an early lead? And give Freddie credit. In his first 2 games in August, dude has been pitching really well too. .82 ERA and 2 wins. Atlanta and Pittsburgh. If he could have a similar game to what he had against Pittsburgh on his last start against the 12th, where you get 6 innings and his pitch count's at 89, you get something similar to that. Only 3 hits and no earned runs and 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week going up against the Cubs. Freddie, his last start against the Cubs back on July 30th. It was a loss. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs in that contest. So, I mean, you look at the last outing, the Cubs had their way. Then you go back to June. Freddie picked up the win against the Cubbies. 5 innings, 3 earned runs, did give up a couple earned runs. May 4th, picked up the win against the Cubbies, went 6 innings, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts. So Freddie has gone up against the Cubs 3 times already this year. Picked up 2 wins, but really, you look at those 3 games that he's gone up against the Cubs and kind of a little bit different results each time, it feels like. He had that May 4th game where he was spectacular, right? Then June 19th, yeah, he got the win. 5 innings, okay. 3 earned runs. Had some offensive support, obviously. And then July 30th, 5 earned runs just in 4 innings. Not a great outing. So good, maybe average, poor. Maybe he's due for a really good one against the Cubbies here today. Maybe. Hopefully, right? That's what we're hoping. But it's going to be hard going up against Cade, who's been pitching incredibly well for the Cubbies too. So we'll see how it flows. That's the first game on the docket for today. And then we got tonight. I know both, if you go to Brewers.com and you go to the mothership and such, says a little TBD. TBD here. I'm sure we're going to see some roster moves today for maybe some fresher arms and some pitchers and such. And probably even maybe Isaac Collins getting back in the lineup today. So you're probably going to see some changes for that game. But also remember, too, you can add another arm to it because it is a doubleheader and such. But I think, the biggest thing to come out of game one today, outside of the win, you're hoping that maybe you're not using that bullpen too much. You're hoping. I think if the Brewers can somehow at least get 6 innings, I shouldn't say somehow, because it's not that insurmountable. If you could get 6 innings, at least 6 innings from Freddie Peralta, that should be the minimum. You're hoping that, and honestly, it might be a little bit of a tough task or a tough ask from Freddie Peralta, but I'm hoping at least 6 from Freddie today. You got to be able to have a solid outing from him and not get that pitch count up early to where they have to go to the pen early. I want at least 6 from Peralta tonight or this afternoon. Let's start off the series on a high note. Let's get this W right away, okay? You got a struggling Cubs team. Yes, they're coming off a series win against the Pirates, but, man, if you can win this series against the Cubs and just, whack-a-mole them down a little bit more in that standings and maybe take away a little bit of their lifeblood. The thing is, don't give them any air. This whole series, don't give them any more life. Don't extend their life. Don't give them any confidence. Don't let them come in here. I shouldn't say it because they were going over there. Don't let them win at least like 3 games or 4 games and let them start to gain a little bit of confidence and such. Take that confidence away from them. Grab the snake by the head and just no, not today. Pound them down a little bit more in the series. Take away that belief. Take away some of that confidence from them. Let them get in their own heads and let them limp to the finish line of the regular season. Show why you are the best team in Major League Baseball. Take them down. Show the world that doesn't maybe believe you right now. Show the world that you are the best in Major League Baseball. Prove it with this series against the Cubbies. Take the wind out of, or take the air out of them a little bit. Suffocate them. Get it done. And it starts today with that doubleheader. Boy, this feels like a big-time playoff series, rival series. How do you not get excited? How do you not get jacked up for this thing? Boy, if you don't have a pulse, man. I know we talked quite a bit about the Brewers, but let's revisit it because we've got our man, Justice Cleveland, joining us here this morning. I think, can this weekend just be described as a typical Brewers type of series? One, yes, they set a franchise record for 14 wins in a row, but you go to Friday night's game down 8-1. No big deal. Yelly will hit a couple home runs, and you still win. Saturday, you force extra innings, and then it's Andrew Monasterio who hits a 3-run home run and extras to get the 14 wins in a row. And then even yesterday they almost did it. Again, not scoring any runs until the ninth when Contreras hits a 2-run shot to take a 2-1 lead. They end up falling in extras, but it's been a couple weeks since I got to chat with you about this team, but I'm running out of words to describe this, and I'm running out of phrases to describe what we're watching right now with this team.
Crazy is about as good as it can go. I mean, the way it was, especially this weekend, was just such a nutshell of how the whole streak had been.
Yeah.
And then, my Alex at work and then JD have always said that the Brewers are fueled by my doubt. Because I just I think tonight's the night that the streak ends.
Yep.
And so on Friday they sent me a text from JD's like, Justice, I'm going to need you to really start doubting this incredibly hard right now. And I'm back. I'm like, yeah, tonight might be the night. And apparently they thought the game started at 6:35 in their heads, and they're down like that. And then all of a sudden they come back.
Yep.
It's just it is just crazy to think of what was going on. And then Saturday. It's it gets to the 8th inning, and I text them, the end is near. And then what happens? They come right back.
Please tell me you did that again yesterday.
And then
too.
yesterday, I'm listening to it on the radio. God, what did I text? Oh, yeah, I just put the end. The end. It was like a gif of a guy pulling down a shade that said the end. And then
Contreras hits the 2-run shot.
But then when they lost, I was like Icarus.
Yeah.
I flew too close to the sun. I used all my powers up, but it was just crazy how every time I thought it was over,
right?
they found a way. I mean, it was like it was comical how crazy. And the Reds made it comical in a way too, because they helped them out.
Oh yeah,
a lot in those first 2 games, especially there,
Yep.
where it's like they're just making errors that you can't make in those situations. And
but isn't that like kind of how the Brewers have done it though too? They're forcing you,
right.
They're putting that pressure on these teams. Like you got to almost play perfect ball.
And ironically, that's what happened to the Brewers yesterday. They just
Exactly.
gave the Reds
Yep.
too many little chances there. Bryce Terang, playing out of position, basically.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, makes an error, gives
Yep.
the opening there, and next thing you know.
Yep.
But I mean, how fun was it? And like it was almost like no doubt that Contreras is going to step up,
Right.
and find a way. Like, and a lot of these games I'm running around, so I'm watching on the score tracker, and then you just look and you're like, how did they do this again?
Yep.
So it's been an amazing run. They ran out of players too.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have a doubleheader after what was basically a bullpen game because the Miz just
On
struggled.
Friday, yeah. Yep.
They blew through so many pitchers. Mm-hmm. So it was a hard situation. Somebody was going to be the first guy to take a loss in that pitching staff, and we saw it yesterday because they ran out of their big guns to throw out there. Give Quintana a ton of credit for going out there and trying to go as long as he could, and he gave up 1 run.
Right, and it was one of those games too when you saw the lineup card, and it's like, okay, Monasterio's batting lead off, Durbin's batting second, Contreras is a DH, Yelich is playing left, but you didn't have Isaac Collins in this series because of paternity leave.
Right.
Blake Perkins finally came back, from his bereavement leave, so you had him added in there, but no Sal Frelick either. So
right,
it's
they don't know when they're getting him back.
It's like, okay, so Quintana, ton of credit, kept them in that position, and that's what you got to do with that. But it's like, okay, you have not seen anything like this from a Brewers team ever, have you?
I mean, they had the winning streak. What was 20 last time they had the big one?
18 was
18,
it?
I believe so. But that didn't feel like this. And it wasn't back-to-back, basically, like they did with this and the other winning streak. I mean, they weren't quite back-to-back, but to go on a run, to be 34 games at one point now, over 500, obviously the thing that creeps in your head is peaking too early. And that's, you go out there and play the games. You're going to win the games if you're playing well.
Right.
And you can't control that. You'd rather that or not be in, what the whole peaking too early thing is where it's like, well, what are they going to do?
Exactly. That's what.
Go out and play 500 ball just to play 500 ball? No.
Right.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're winning. And they've been doing it with, the hitting, situational hitting. I don't know if I've seen a Brewer team that's ever been better than this team.
Right.
Like, they find a way. They can manufacture a run better than any team I've ever seen in Brewer. And it's such a contrast to what they were doing during the council years a lot of the times. It wasn't manufactured. It was like, okay, we're just going to swing hard and hope that, we can find a way. It's not like it was that easy, but it really is what it felt like at times.
Yep.
And then, Pat Murphy comes in, and it seems like it's just been a different philosophy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just make contact.
Yep.
And that's what they do. They just make contact and they find a hole. It's just been so fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And now you get to a series here now. The series is huge, really, because it's either the Brewers can distance themselves from the Cubs. It could be a 13-game lead.
Yeah.
By the end of this. And by that point, the Cubs might not even be in second place if it happens like that. Or it could be a 3-game lead.
Yeah.
And then you're right back to battling. Mm-hmm. So, either way, somebody's gaining a game in the series because it's a 5-game series.
Right.
So it's kind of fun in that way, but this is a big stretch for them because, what's the next?
No off day until September 2nd.
Yeah.
Scheduled off day.
So this is a big, San Francisco is a team that's around 500. They're a team looking to jumpstart any hopes they have for a playoff berth. So this is going to be a big week for them and a lot of games. And, something to be said, you're traveling. As well.
Because you got Toronto mixed in at the end of the month here, too. And, the team that's chasing you for the best record in all Major League Baseball.
Right, exactly. Dalton Varsho putting up those, played like 40 games, has like 20
right.
Just monster numbers there from not quite that, but it's pretty close. But
right.
Yeah.
And then Philly after that. Yeah. So, the team that is probably like maybe the biggest contender for against the Brewers for the National League. National League's loaded, I think, this year. But
we look at this, we were back there when they were 21 and 25, and we were talking about that stretch they were going on there. And obviously they went above and beyond expectations from what we ever thought they were going to do from that point on. Now let's hope you can stay at expectations here for this next. We've seen Brewers teams struggle in September and limp into the playoffs. And see that thing you always fear is that those bats going silent. And I don't think that's going to happen with this team because I think they're just a different team that's not relying on one big hit to get all the runs. They scrape and scrap. They're the woodpeckers, you know?
Murphy's back. Woodpeckers.
Yeah. But no, they're not sneaking up on anybody now.
No.
You do this win streak like this twice in a year, the first team since 1935 in the National League to have 2 streaks like this.
Yep.
It's there's no sneaking up on it. Then now you're going into Wrigley, which never been an easy place for the Brewers to play.
Right.
In 5 games, so
I don't know if you had a chance, I'm not like power rankings aren't the be all tell all. I look at them just to get a perspective of what others are thinking, and MLB.com still has the Brewers at number 1, but I love this line, 2 lines that they put in about the Brewers here. It says they still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games, and they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row the next month now anyways. So it's like,
who knows? I mean, right? I wouldn't be surprised with this team. I think, we talk about all the clutch hitting, but it's the pitching staff that's kept them in these situations. Even going back to the Miz struggling, to have a bullpen come out and put together inning after inning after inning in that game like they did.
Yep.
It's almost unheard of right now, in baseball to have that clutch of a bullpen. But my goodness, the way they've played and the way that Murphy knows how to run a pitching staff.
Yep.
That's part of it too. I mean, it is like a college team almost. And I think that's why it fits Pat Murphy. I mean, there's so many younger guys on this team, so many guys that are just getting breaks thanks to the Brewers.
Right.
And then you have your veteran leadership there with like Yelich and Woodruff, but wow, just a fun team to watch that knows how to scrap.
Right. And you talk about looking ahead of the postseason and such, and what are some of the things these really good teams in the postseason have? It's bullpens, which right now Brewers pretty up there. You talk about the last year of Council. When they got to the postseason and such, they relied so much on that home run ball where it felt like if they were down 2-0, they weren't going to claw out of that.
Exactly. Yep.
Whereas now it's like, all right, we're still good. We still feel good about it. So you got that type of hitting and such, and we know the defense is up there outside of a couple of miscues and that. But you brought about Murphy handling the pitching, and I know he got a little heat yesterday taking Tobias out for Grant, and such. And Murphy said after the game because Grant is a ground ball pitcher, they were hoping for the double play with the runner on and such. But and it's one of those, if they get out of it, nobody's talking about it. But since it happened and it led to what happened yesterday, everybody's doubting Murphy's decision and such. I also wondered how much of it came into play. Like, okay, let's try to preserve Tobias a little bit more too because of this stretch that we got going on here. He's a guy that can give you multiple innings, not only just for the Cubs, but it's the Giants, and then it's Arizona, then it's Toronto and Philly after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the role as a baseball manager, not just to coach, but it's also to kind of manage.
Yeah. And I think that I have no problem with him doing that. You're trying a strategy, and honestly, after all they've been through, yesterday's game was gravy.
Right.
15 in a row. But it's the fact that he's still thinking that strategy, they're not going to give away a game. That's a team that'll never give away a game. So, but he had to be smart.
Yeah.
And they've been, some might say overly cautious with some of their pitchers there, but that's because they want these guys available, and that's kind of been a curse for the Brewers. Maybe a little bit is always losing somebody right before the postseason. So they're doing their best to preserve all this. Like Miz, if the Miz struggles again, they're going to pull him out early again.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him get shelled.
Yep.
Go out there, pitch 5 innings, give 10 runs or something. They're bringing him along slowly, and even if he has a good game, he's probably still only going 5 innings.
Right.
So that's just something you got to get used to because they want him for the next 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to sacrifice him for one season.
Right.
So they have plenty of arms. So I think I can't even be mad about those decisions yesterday. Because again, you're handcuffed, knowing what you have coming up here the next 5 days,
And
4 days, the next 2 weeks basically.
Exactly. And the other thing where I'm not going to be too hard on Pat Murphy, I got 78 other reasons why. 78 wins.
Right.
78-45.
Yeah.
You're talking 23 games over 500. I mean, that's or 33
games, yeah.
Excuse me. Jeez, 33
I
games
know,
over
it's
500.
to a number that we can't even comprehend anymore.
Right, exactly. So it's like, okay, I get it. Where someone like, was that the best? But I kind of trust Pat Murphy right now.
They can go 3 and whatever and still finish at 500.
Right.
Win just 3 games the next 2 months, and they're still going to finish at 500. So, yeah,
I mean, everybody kind of, I think a lot of people predicted 80 wins, 81 wins on the season, and, geez, they're just 3 away from that.
and I think
the
tough thing is, and I feel like this is kind of with when it's the Badgers too, it's just a weird feeling when they're on top and considered a top team.
Yep.
Because you're so used to kind of always being from behind, because there's always going to be those powerhouse teams that are usually ranked ahead of you. So it's a weird feeling to see the Brewers like on top of those power rankings too. But it's something you got to hopefully we get used to.
And a sizable lead too. It's not just like, they're a half game ahead of so and so,
right?
For the best record. They're up 7 games over Toronto for the best record in Major League Baseball.
There's just never been a stretch of Brewers baseball that I've seen.
No.
Like when you're playing a video game and you just like keep winning and winning. And
you got it on the easy setting or something like
exactly.
that, and you're just like, oh yeah, we're cruising through here. Is this even fun to play?
Yeah,
it's fun to watch.
The other teams might think that it's on hard setting because like when you're playing a game and you're like, and the computer's not going to let you win.
Yeah,
that's how the Brewers were at least for those 15 games.
Right.
Now you could be up 7 runs, 6 runs, and the Brewers were going to find a way to scrape back. And so for that, I mean, if Pat Murphy if he finishes off this has got to be your manager of the year.
Got to be the first since Bobby Cox to go back to back.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I would say. I mean, for what the job he's done, and again, guys coming off the scrap heap again, rookies that are just, going above and beyond. And you get somebody like Lockridge who comes in, you're like trying to like. Wait a second, when did he get onto the roster? It's like
right. That was a trade deadline acquisition.
Yeah,
right?
and you're just like, okay, well, you know what? And then what's he do? He comes up clutch. Even yesterday on that sack fly, the catch he made at the wall. Yeah, that's the thing about the Brewers. Even when they're giving up runs, they're still making spectacular plays. So yeah, it has been enjoyable.
Looking at, so we know Freddie's going to get the starts for Game 1, and there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on after that because both teams got a little TBD for Game 2. We could probably figure out who it's going to be and such, but
you get an extra player because of the doubleheader.
Right, so there's going to be some roster moves probably announced today. One of them probably going to be Isaac Collins, I would assume maybe back, added to the active roster after his paternity leave too, such. So there's going to be a little bit of movement here, and like you said, they get to add an extra player and such too, so maybe that guy's a Chad Patrick.
That's what the talk sounded like. The talk yesterday is who they were thinking because he's been pitching well down in Nashville. So
right, I mean you're talking about. He's gotten mentioned for some Rookie of the Year votes. Isaac Collins, Jacob Mizorowski, Caleb. You're talking 4 guys who have been mentioned for Rookie of the Year votes on this team.
They'll probably end up splitting them all, and somebody
exactly.
Right.
Probably like a Baldwin from Atlanta or something like that. But it's like you 4 guys there, and you look at. You talk about Pat Murphy, but it's like Matt Arnold again, probably for Executive of the Year for crying out loud for what he, the Quinn Priester trade when it first happened was like, oh, they gave up too much. Now you can say, where would this team be without a guy like Quinn Priester with his double-digit wins? And it's like, who else? You're just waiting for who's in every single game? It almost feels like it's somebody different that just kind of steps up.
I would love, it won't happen, but Christian Yelich getting mentioned in MVP voting. It just it's so hard for Milwaukee other than when he was hitting 50 home runs. But what he's done, I mean, beyond expectations of what anybody thought him coming off a major back surgery. Yeah. Is just he looks like the player of old, and good for him. And there's talking about Murphy was talking about how he felt to live up to that contract. And a lot of guys could be like, okay, I'm making the money, I don't need to try to work back to where I was, but man, he's just, out there. He's still, in your mind, he's still this kid playing out there, but he's one of the oldest guys on that team now. So it's been fun to watch him go out there and just hitting those opposite field home runs. And
That's when you know he's in it.
Yeah.
When
Oh, yeah, and he's been
oppo.
locked in like this last month. And it's the batting average is getting closer to where, would be for him upper 200s. He's at 267 right now. So,
Yep.
and, Sal Frelick's like top 5 NL batting average.
Yeah.
294. I was like, we were just like looking through this. I'm like, 294. It's like, yeah, he's like top 10. He gets to 300, he has a chance.
Collins is at 288.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's like three. Like it was Will Smith the last time I looked was leading with like a 310 or anything like. It's like might be the lowest batting average to win since I think like Yaz won it in the AL for a while ago.
That's my guy Salvatore Frelick.
Oh, he's the embodiment.
Yes.
Of that team.
Yep.
He really is. Like running through a brick wall. Mm-hmm. Probably doubted because of his size.
Yep.
But has just been an outstanding player.
I mean, you can even see it in the dugout, the energy he brings, and just kind of like the character he can be. Like I know I was watching it yesterday when Contreras hit the home run, and Contreras comes back to the dugout, and Frelick's there like watering Contreras, like feeding him water, and like just kind of goofing off and all that. But it's like those are the type of guys you need in that dugout too, right?
And I think
keeping it loose in that and.
Murphy wants that.
Yep.
I think he wants that energy.
Yep.
He's I think that's again coming from that college experience. He's been around younger guys, and he knows that energy level that you need to maintain a long season and a successful season, and we're seeing that.
Yep.
Now, do I have to play devil's advocate quick?
Go for it.
There's a lot of close games in that 15-game winning streak that they were able to win.
Yeah.
Now your fear, and again, I'm not trying to be all negative. I'm just saying like. There's gonna hopefully those games don't turn the other way. Mm-hmm. If you go with the whole juju and that kind of stuff of like the yin and the yang of a baseball season, that's where you get a little scared. It's like, have they used up all that? But
Jobu,
yeah, hats for bats. But I think this team's just got that scrappiness in them. That
grittiness. That just I was looking it up. So National League Frelick is hitting 294, which is 5th. You got Xavier Edwards and Will Smith tied at 302. Freddie Freeman's 298, Marte's 297, and then Sal Frelick. It's not insurmountable for
No. I was trying to think of the last time. I remember Yaz had like a 301 in the AL. Mm-hmm. So it's like when the last time the National League leader finished potentially under 300 batting.
Yeah. I mean, American League is probably going to be Judge. He's 333, and I know he's been missing some time, but then it drops down to Aranda at 316. But, yeah, you got 6 guys in the American League alone, 300 or higher at this point. So
yeah, it's weird because it feels like hitting's not that down compared to a couple years ago where it was like just strikeout, 1-0 games. But I guess it's weird that there's just that lack of – where's our Tony Gwynn's?
Yes.
The guys who, Wade Boggs, who could hit 300 in their sleep.
Yep.
Trying to find the last sub 300 to lead.
Going back to, Yelich here quick, 25 home runs that he has this season and 812 OPS. Obviously leading the team in home runs with 25. The guy that's second in home runs is somebody, and I know we kind of talked a little bit about it last week, and this is not a knock on him, and we're probably not going to see him maybe till next month, is Jackson Cheerio.
Right.
But you talk about this winning streak and you talk about them putting together these wins. How often can you say that a team is missing one of their best, maybe their best player talent-wise, and they're still winning and really not missing a beat? I don't think it's a Ewing effect where it's like, oh, they're playing better without Jackson. It's not that. It's just it's another example of all these guys that are just like, all right, Jackson's out, next man up. They're living up to that definition.
Yeah. There's never a doubt, it seems like, when they put another guy in, like Lockridge coming in.
Right.
It's like it's off the scrap heap and performing. Mm-hmm. So that goes to the scouting department.
Yeah.
To find these guys, to know that front office staff of these guys can come in and Andrew Vaughn obviously is the shining example of that.
Right.
But again, these are, a lot of guys that aren't names that come in and just been performing in clutch situations.
Right. I mean, Brewers right now are still missing 2 of their top 5 home run hitters, with Rhys Hoskins, who's tied for 4th, and Jackson Cheerio, who's 2nd.
Yeah, so they're going to get addition. They didn't have to make those moves because they just have guys coming back.
Right.
So
I mean, it's going to be tough decisions, like who plays when Hoskins is back and such, but I'd rather have them have those tough decisions instead of like what Brandon said on Friday, for example. They're not forced to try to get something out of a Josh Donaldson like they did a couple years ago.
Right. You don't see that happening in the playoffs where somebody gets left off and you're bringing in a veteran Jesse Winker, just to have a veteran on there. They really don't have that.
Right.
Maybe Reese Hoskins is going to be the question mark. Well, what do you do when he comes back? But it's a guy who can hit a ton of home runs.
And he's got that September, October experience.
Yeah. And the DH makes things so much easier.
Yep.
You have that extra bat that somebody's going to be able to rest, yet still swing.
Yep. So. And you could play the matchups a little bit too, a little bit more that way. So, yeah, it's just the fact that they're going to be getting some of these guys back too. It's like, hey, now here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, man, I can't wait. I feel like this is a playoff series coming up with the Cubs. I feel like it's going to be a nerve-wracking series. It's got that rivalry mixed into it.
Yep.
Emotions are going to be high on both sides. Brewers would love nothing more than to, I call it whack-a-mole, keep whacking them down in the standings. Cubs know how huge this is if they still want to try to win this division.
Right.
They got to come into this thing. I mean, I got to imagine tensions are going to be high from fans and players. But this is, if we look at it from a Brewer side, best outcome, you're pushing the Cubs down maybe double digits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And think about that. Double digits as we enter
in the
September.
final month of the season. Yeah. I mean, that would be huge.
And you don't play the Cubs anymore in the regular season after this.
I think the Cubs obviously are probably looking at this maybe even bigger than the Brewers are, because the Cubs, it's their last chance to throw a lifeline to get to that top again.
Yeah, I think if we ask who's it more important for, it's probably the Cubs.
Right.
To win this series.
But the Brewers will be playing it big, though, too.
Oh, yeah. They know. They know. So,